Okay, does this mould look fiddly to you? Now, you know how normally with Chameleon powders, we'll carefully brush them into the little areas and get that, all different colour effects, and it'll all be lovely. But there is an easier way of doing it using alcohol. Let me show you. We've got a little bit of alcohol in each of these pots. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to colour the flowers in. Now, these look like lotus flowers to me. And I usually automatically go in with pink with lotus flowers, but I think on this occasion I'm going to go for gold ones. Now these powders are the ethereal powders from the Tiny Turner, and just look how colourful that is. Fab, isn't it? This will probably, I think, use a little bit more powder than I would normally use, just to get enough coverage, because we're mixing it with the alcohol. The alcohol is my usual 99% isopropyl alcohol that I use for all sorts of things. So it's the sort of stuff that most of us have got in aircraft stash anyway. Now what we're going to do, and you could do this with a needle tip bottle as well if you wanted. That does work. But I wanted to just show you how you can do this by dotting it on carefully with a brush. Now do stir it in between, because the powder can begin to settle. But using a brush, you can get right into the little nooks and crannies like this quite easily. You're particularly going to get it down into the recesses, which is, it is kind of the effect that I like. See, it's running down into the little gaps. That's a flower bud as well, isn't it? So yeah, you can see it's settling in between me dipping my brush in. So just a little swirl each time, just to make sure you're picking up some of the powder. You can see where the actual flowers are. Is that a flower? Some of this is actually, it's such a pretty intricate design, it's really quite hard to see which bits are flowers and which bits are leaves, but I think I've got this right. To a degree, I don't suppose it matters too much. I think this is the main flower, isn't it? This one down here, so let's make sure we've got plenty of the colour into there. I think the rest of it just wants to be shades of green, so we'll put that to one side. I've got another little pot here. Now this one is called Nature, and it's green, but of course, being a chameleon type thing, it goes through various colour flips. So again, we're just going to put this into our little pot. Stir it up well, and we're just going to go around all the rest of it. Now what should happen by doing it this way is, as you can see, there'll be a lot in the where it's more recessed and less on the high points, which, if we back this with black, should give quite a dramatic effect, I hope. Ah, this is water at the bottom, isn't it? Not greenery. Okay, so the difficulty I've got now is I won't be able to fetch that out, so it might have to stay that way. I'll have a try actually in a sec. That bit might be water too. But this is a good way of finding out what our mould does, if that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Now this bit here, you'd never get your powder into that. But by running it down like this, it's going into all the nooks and crannies. I hope. Now once we've got this one made, I'll be able to, of course, see which bits have got the wrong colour and which bits next time I should be doing in blue. But we will have got one made, and we'll be able to see how the chameleon powders work. Now what I'm going to do with those bits where I've now realised I should have done blue is I'm going to try and get some blue in there. Now it's probably too late, because what's already in there is what you're going to see. However, give it a go. And I've got this one here which is called Aurora, so we're going to try that. And I'm going to put quite a bit in the hope that it will show through. And I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush now, I'm kind of going in with my back coat, aren't I? So I'm hoping this will just pick up a little bit more, pick up a bit of blue in amongst this. That's going to, I really should have done in blue in the first place. I think that's water too, isn't it? This is just a makeup brush, by the way. The other brush was just a cheap paintbrush. I don't know if that's worked. Whether I'd swamped it too much with a green. We'll see. We'll see. It doesn't matter, does it? I do find sometimes I need to actually make a mould up to just see what colour it's supposed to be. Now, what I'm going to do now is mix up some black resin, and we're only going to need a bit, and I'm going to use one that's fairly runny because that's going to be a very fine mould to get it into, isn't it? What we've got here then is Apex High Gloss. When I said fairly runny, I mean it is actually a medium viscosity. It's quite warm in the room here today, so it shouldn't be too thick. I know it degasses well. Now, this is so shallow, you could feasibly use just a, you know, one of the fast cure shallow pour ones, or polyurethane resin if I'd got some. But I have actually run out of black polyurethane, so we're just using regular. The reason I mentioned polyurethane is because it would be one, quick, but two, it's very runny. So to get into all these fine nooks and crannies, it'd actually be extremely good. But like I said, I've run out. So there we go. That's just a regular black pigment I've put in there. We're well mixed up now. So we're just going to go in now. Pouring it so as it gets into all these little nooks and crannies here could be fun. So I'm just going to pour it a bit in each area and see where it goes. And I hope if I wiggle these around enough, it'll run into those little grooves. Now, whether they're going to be strong enough, I have no idea. But what I'm thinking is, before I demold this, what I'll probably do is put like a dome coat on the back, just a clear one, so that hopefully I can pick up all these little tiny fine bits. Because it'd be a real shame not to, and there's no way on earth the resin on its own that thin is going to be strong, is there? It's just too thin. And it could be we just lose those and don't worry about it. I can see it's actually running down these little grooves though. So the resin clearly is thin enough to do it. It's just whether it will be strong enough when it's that thin. I mean, that is ridiculously thin. This resin normally is as strong as any, you know. Those fine bits. I mean, this is meant to be a fondant mould. I can't see that would work for a fondant either. Right, the resin is running into these. I can see them down here. It's running into these. So I shall persevere. Okay. Let's see if my resin and I have risen to the challenge. I think I've got some overspill anyway. Just have to see what happens, really. I honestly think we're going to end up with some bits that are just too thin, and I will end up backing it, but we'll see. We'll see. Right, I'll see you in a few hours. Well, I never. It is actually coming out. It's still slightly bendy, even though it's been in since yesterday, so I think I've fouled up with the resin. Well, everyone, let's move this into the sun. Would you believe this actually demolded? This is very fragile. In fact, it's stayed slightly soft. But anyway, I've gone ahead and demolded it. And this is what the back looks like. Obviously, I've got some overspill to trim off. But I'm still thinking to put this onto a backing of some sort. But I did want to demold it without doming the back off, because I could see whether it even worked. Anyway, I know the colours will work, which was the point of this video. So let's turn it over. Oh, that's nice. Now, you see what's happened, because we mixed the colours in with alcohol. They've run down into all the tips and points, and we've ended up with this gorgeous antique effect. And we put the black on the back. So I'm going to work out what to put this onto. Obviously, I've got to trim all these little surplus bits off. But other than that, I think that is pretty impressive. So there's another way of using your Chameleon powders. Lovely, isn't it? It looks so antique. There we are. Right, if you like this little video, you know what to do, folks. If you can give me a thumbs up, I'd really, really appreciate it. And of course, the button to subscribe is down below here as well. Subscribing is free, remember. Big shout out to all my channel members as well. I've now cleared 20 channel members, which I never thought I'd even get one. So thank you so much for all of your support. And just give you all a little wave. Thank you very much indeed. And I will see you all for the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.